For the Young at Heart is sponsored by Duville Life and Wellness Community, a commitment to care, a legacy of compassion. This is Duville.
Hello, welcome to For the Young at Heart. I'm Lucille Jerome, and on today's program we're going to be taking a look at the National Park System. I have two guests with me today. Andy Pearson, who is an interpretive guide at the Lowell National Park, and he's also studying to be a teacher, a master's degree in education, as I understand. And my other guest is Alec Horton, and he's from Portland, Oregon. He's a Centennial Ambassador. Welcome to the two of you.
Thank you.
Welcome from Portland.
Thanks for having us.
A big year is coming up. And why don't we start with how did the National Park System come into being?
Okay. So next year is going to be our 100th birthday of the National Park Service, established in 1916, signed into act by Woodrow Wilson himself, and celebrating a big year as far as commemorating all the culture and nature and all the history that goes along with the National Park Service next year.
So Woodrow Wilson started the park system. Somehow in my head I remember Theodore Roosevelt being involved.
Wilson's the one that signs it into.
He signed it
into our agreement, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the first national park?
You've got early national parks like Yellowstone and Yosemite are kind of the early
Okay.
national parks that pop up there. Yeah.
Okay. So we've been around for 100 years as
100
of
years.
next year.
Yeah, August
Okay.
25th will be the birthday of the National
Okay.
Park Service.
How many national parks are there?
Currently there are 407. So they
408.
All right, so there's 408. So see, they get added all the time. Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, and they're separate. Some of the states have state parks, and I understand sometimes there's a cooperation between state and national parks. But the one in Lowell happens to be the Lowell National Historical Park. Okay. What else would you like to tell us about the history of the national parks and where some of them might be located?
Okay. Do you want to say anything first, or?
So yeah, I mean, the national parks are all over the country, and they come in all sorts of shapes and forms. People think of a national park, they think of Yellowstone or Yosemite,
Right.
where you have bison and giant trees. And you think of parks like Lowell National Historical Park. We look nothing like that. And so it's important to think that the National Park is here, the National Park Service is here to preserve America's culture and preserve the things that make America great. That's really the business that we do. So we're preserving these natural lands as well as these great historical and cultural figures.
Right. It didn't start out that way, though, did it? It started out mostly as a park system, like the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, things like that. And then it's evolved over time to include the historical element, which is really a good thing to have done because we have such history here in our country. Okay. So going from there, okay, and all this historical aspect, is Lowell, I might be wrong on this, but is Lowell the only one in a city? I mean, there are other types of historical
Right.
events and locations, but this is a city. So is it the only one, or are there others like it?
There are others. Boston, for example, Boston has a number of national parks, African American, the Freedom Trail, the Navy Yard, Independence Hall in Philadelphia, also commemorate that kind of history as well. So it's a good mixture of historical and cultural ones as well as the natural ones as well. And we in Lowell, as well as other parks in Massachusetts, operate on a partnership too. So our park is a partnership park where we work with a lot of community partners in downtown Lowell.
Okay.
One of our big partners that we work with is the Songus Industrial History Center, which is part of the UMass Lowell School of Graduation, to education.
That's right.
And they actually work out of the Boot Cotton Mills Museum in downtown Lowell, and they work with, as a partnership between the National Park, and we bring in school kids and they do school programs there throughout the year as well.
School children go. Any particular age range, or do you tailor it to a different ages, like
So,
first grade
yeah.
even?
So our programs traditionally are meant for third grade all the way up through high school, although we do get colleges that come, and we do get adult groups that come and want to kind of build teamwork and collaboration in that regard.
Okay.
But each of our programs is specifically aligned with the state curriculum, so teachers can go and look up that information online at the websites and basically figure out which school program works best for them and what they're studying at that point in time.
Very organized.
We try.
We don't hear very much about it, though. I mean, some people, the Freedom Trail. I'm not sure people really think of that as a national park. They probably, state park, I would think. But so what do you do for publicity? This is going to be a big year. It's going to be out in the open everywhere. But ordinarily, how do you publicize who you are and what you
Sure.
do?
So I guess I'll say a little bit about our kind of strategy for that, and then you can
Yeah,
anything
sure,
centennial-wise.
sure.
But we, as far as Lowell National Historical Park go, we do a lot of kind of social media aspects of it. We do a lot of videos that we make for promotion that goes up on YouTube. We do a lot that go on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, to cater to different audiences in that regard. We also work a lot with local partnerships in downtown, and they get the word out pretty well for us.
Right,
Word of mouth is a big one for
Right.
Lowell National Historical Park, and so it travels pretty quick that way, and it's a lot of kind of these interesting connections that pop
We
up.
know
that
about
go-
the Lowell we know more about.
Yeah.
Lowell we do know more
Yeah.
about. You're really good about getting the information
try.
out. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Yes, you do. So we have a couple of sites in Lowell, all right? And you have quite a number of paraphernalia out here for us to look at. So at some point, I want us to really
Sure.
talk about these things because this is fascinating, among other things.
Yeah.
The senior pass is fascinating. I'd like to know more about the passes
Okay,
before
I
we
can tell
move
you-
on.
Yeah, I can tell
me
you a little
more
about the passes. So we offer a few different passes here. We have the senior pass that we do offer for visitors that are 62 and older, and the pass basically will allow them discounted admission or admission that's completely free based on the way the national park that they're visiting is set up. And it's good for them and 3 other guests with them to visit, so they can bring their family, they can bring their grandkids, they can bring
Right.
that and kind of travel around and do that. This is a lifetime pass, and it costs $10. And so you can go to most national parks and purchase it. You can come to downtown Lowell, the Visitor Center on Market Street, or the Boot Cotton Mills and buy those as well.
Do they get a discount on books because you have a very nice selection of books?
So as far as the passes go, they only apply to kind of the fees you would visit.
admission?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we do offer teacher discounts that come in the
Okay.
bookstore. And certainly, if you have questions about those kinds of things, you want to buy a wholesale, you can always call us and we're happy to work something out.
Yeah.
The other passes work in a very similar way. We do have an annual pass for those who are not quite 62 yet, but would still like to visit at a discounted rate. And this one here actually is good for 1 year. And so you pay for it every year. It costs $80. We do have a free pass for active military. So if you're an active military serviceman or woman, you can come and just bring in your documentation, and this is good for as long as you are, active. And then our other big one that we offer is the access pass for people that have a permanent disability. And so they can bring in proper documentation, they sign this, and it's a free lifetime pass that gets them the same benefits as, say, the other passes as well.
So, for example, if a grandchild had a disability, would the grandparent use hers, or would she use the child's?
You could, it would depend. I mean, if they're going to travel together, you could have the grandparent could have one, but if there
Right.
is someone in the family that does have a disability, they can certainly get one of these as well, and this is a free one, and
And
they
that's
can.
a free one.
It's a free one. We do have a special one that Alec can tell you a little bit more about
Oh, yeah.
that's going on for the centennial.
Yes, so earlier in the year, President Obama announced a program called Every Kid in a Park with the initiative to get kids outdoors and using their federal lands. A lot of people, especially around here, not even especially around here, but in urban areas, they don't realize that they have national parks in their areas, and they don't realize that they are surrounded by public lands. So what this really does is this gives them access to their federal lands for free for 1 year for all 4th graders and 10-year-olds. It'll get you into national parks, it'll get you into the Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, so on and so forth. And we also have a partnership with various state parks as well to get them into state parks for free.
Okay, okay. This is well worth knowing. I didn't know about that one at all coming up. But you're going to be publicizing that too.
Correct, yes.
Yes, everything. Okay. So if we're moving into, we've gone from the general, like how it began and who signed it into law and the different types that there are. You have a lot of information right here on the table. We looked at these. Explain this a little bit. Would you please,
So-
somebody?
Yeah, sure, I can tell you a little about this. So, at our museum, the Boot Cotton Mills,
Yeah.
it's a museum set up to kind of commemorate the history of the workers that were there, whether, you know, it's something where they were doing weaving or whether they were spinning. And this is a shuttle that represents the type of work that would be done on the power loom. And so, visiting the Boot Mills, you can actually see a room with about 89 power looms that were actually manufactured in Massachusetts, in Hopedale, Massachusetts, and used in a number of different mill operations historically that were put in the Boot Mills when we opened in 1991. And you can actually see this go back and forth on the loom with the bobbin right in here. And you can actually see them weave historic cloth exactly how they would have done it. And that's cloth that we do sell as well. And so we do get a lot of people that come in to buy our fabric that we make there. And so this is all made on a historic loom.
Can I feel that?
You
Is
sure
this,
can.
now, this is cotton?
It's all cotton.
This is 100% cotton?
100% cotton.
Okay. And you sell these?
Yes, we do. And so
What
those are
else?
all made in the museum.
So what else, do you sell other items too?
Yep, we sell a variety of books commemorating not only the kind of original worker story, but we do have a lot of books that commemorate the immigrant experience in Lowell. Lowell is a city that was built on industrialization, immigration, and kind of a revitalization aspect today.
Right,
And
right.
so the museum store that we have does sell a lot of fabric, but also a lot of books. As part of the national park system, each national park has what's called the passport program. So just like someone might travel to another country and have their passport stamped when they go there, all the national parks, a majority of them anyway, have stamps that you can collect. So you buy a little book, just like a passport. They're color-coded by region. And so let's say you visit Lowell and you come to the Boot Cotton Mills Museum. We have a stamp there that tells you the state, so Lowell, Massachusetts. It has the city and the town, or the state. And it also tells you the museum site you visited with the date and year you were there. So people come sometimes just to collect the stamps. They've gone.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, we do have people that
Yes.
come and just collect the stamps. People take it very seriously. It's a fun activity.
Right.
A lot of kids like to do it too. It's kind of their first entry into the Park Service, is this kind of idea that they're collecting something. And
Right.
it's something they can take home with them to remind them of their visit as well. And that's a free program that we have.
And that's throughout the country?
That's throughout the country. So you could go to Grand Canyon, could collect a stamp there. And it's not just one stamp. Some parks have multiple. We have quite a few there because we have all our trolleys that people can ride. You can get the stamps there. You can get the stamps at our visitor center. And you know, when we take the boat tours in the summer, there's other stamps available too.
Are there people who have collected all the stamps? You've got, said, how many? 400 what?
8.
408.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But
As-
are there people who take this so seriously that they're aiming in their lifetime to maybe do this?
Yeah, a few years ago, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 years ago, certainly there were a little bit less. There were only like 390 at the time, national parks. But people, a National Park Stampers group that has like an online blog and community,
Oh my goodness.
basically contacts each other and they let each other know where the stamps are, if there's any new stamps available. And usually at the time they were scheduling one kind of national park place to visit as kind of like the get-together.
Right.
And Lowell was that place a few years ago, and some people were just starting out collecting their stamps, but others had stamps from all the parks. So people do try and get all of them and take it
Yes,
seriously. It's a fun
Yeah,
activity.
It is a fun
It's really fun.
activity. I'm going to talk to my grandchildren.
Yeah,
They're
it's
young
really fun.
enough. They're young enough. Okay, now, your hat is on the table.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wearing your hat. Is there some rule about that?
So when we have our hat here, our park Stetson, we wear it when we're outside. We always have to have a hat on when we're outside. More inside, we usually remove the hat. And so we have a summer hat and we have a winter hat as well. And we have
Okay.
a summer uniform and a winter uniform.
Okay.
So during the summer, we traditionally wear the kind of short sleeve shirt with the kind of straw hat. And then in the wintertime, our hat is a felt hat, and we have long sleeve and a tie. So we do have kind of a variety of uniforms that we do
Okay.
get to wear.
So when does summer begin and end? Who decides that? Because we're not in summer right now.
Right. So typically what happens is around the Memorial Day weekend is kind of
yeah,
our
yeah, right,
transition
right,
period. That's when we
right.
start a lot of our summer programming
Right.
on weekends. And then once we move into June, we start to transition more into full summer. And so we've got kind of a transition period on both ends. So
Right.
right now we're in our transition period, so we can
Yeah.
move into our winter uniform, which will start happening more into November.
Like I said earlier, very organized.
We try. We try.
Very organized. What do you hope to accomplish during the centennial year? I mean, the overall, I can't imagine, I don't know, maybe all of the parks are going to be doing something?
Do you feel that
Yeah,
way?
definitely. So what we hope to accomplish is introduce ourselves, reintroduce the fact that there is a national park in Lowell to the people of Lowell. You know, we are a community park, and we belong to the people, but we can go to events, you know, in Lowell, or in Westford, or in Chelmsford, and they don't realize that there is a national park right in their backyard. And so that's something that we really want to address, is
Okay.
kind of finding new ways to connect to people and kind of take, if they won't come to the park, we're kind of going to them, kind of introducing ourselves.
Do you have the senior centers on your list of places you might want to go to?
Yeah, we've done programs before. We've gone to
Yeah.
them. We have groups that come by bus that
Right.
will be senior organized groups that come by bus and
Yeah.
visit different park sites.
Okay.
And it's an interesting thing in the Centennial is because we're trying to draw in all different audiences.
Right.
But one of the big things as far as creating in the next generation of park visitor also ties in with the Every Kid in a Park Pass. Is trying to
Right.
get people that, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old that are just starting out kind of exploring their, you know, their country.
Right.
And so to kind of draw them into, so it's a good kind of wide net for the Centennial that encompasses all national parks as well.
All national parks and all age groups.
Yeah.
Right. What do you find interesting being here in Massachusetts, working this particular national park?
Well, before coming into the position, I'd never been to a historical park, so I didn't really know what they were all about. And
Okay.
kind of coming into Lowell and kind of figuring out what Lowell is all about and figuring out the significance of Lowell and significance of the national park, that was really the big thing. It's like kind of this
Okay.
hidden gem that you don't really ever
It is a
really
hidden
appreciate.
gem. The whole corridor around Merrimack River is a hidden gem, really, when you think about it, with all the mills. Yeah. Okay, so we're moving into the centennial coming year. Besides the audio and the visual that you have, what other things might you want to be doing to get people interested, you know, to whet their interest?
So we have a kind of a broader national park as a whole has this hashtag Find Your Park campaign. So people are trying to find their park.
I'm writing these down.
This is good. So it helps people find their park. So, you know, as Alex said, you know, it's a hidden gem, and people that live in the apartments right behind the museum sometimes don't even know they're in a national park. So they, you know, they come and visit and they're surprised. And so the big thing that trying to bring forward is kind of finding your park. And all of us as staff here have this kind of little centennial pin, the 2016 centennial that we wear around the park. And one of the big things that I can speak about is we have a junior ranger program that we have some of the materials here.
Which
So
one?
these all encompass the Junior Ranger program here.
Rangers,
So this
oh.
is a certificate and a book. You'll notice the book is in Spanish. We have a
Could you pass? Could
we
you
have a
pass that to me?
bilingual, so we have a Spanish book and we
Right,
have a
right.
book that is in English as well.
That's
And it's
nice.
basically an activity book they get to
Right.
do, and they can earn a badge for completing it. And so the Junior Ranger program, like the Passport program,
Right.
is something that national parks have where people might come in with their grandkids.
Right.
And they might go through that book with them as they spend the day, and then they can grab a badge at the end. And so
So you have this in his
Yep.
Spanish, what else?
we have it Spanish and English
In
as far as
English,
the
okay.
books go. We're
Okay.
currently redesigning the Junior Ranger book
Okay.
to create a new one that also encompasses kind of older kids as well, because there's always the 16, 17-year-old that comes in that secretly kind of wants to do it, but
Right.
is a little bit too embarrassed to ask.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have that
Yeah.
older skew as well. And we do have adults that come in and specifically ask for this. So it's not age restrictive, it's for anyone to do, and they can get the certificate for completing it as well.
I can see this as a very nice because I focus on senior citizens,
Mm-hmm.
I can see this as being a wonderful activity for a grandparent to bring a grandchild to, you know? I'm not disallowing the parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying for a grandparent and a
Yeah,
grandchild.
and certainly, I always like to encourage, you know, if the parent or grandparent's helping and the kid wants
Yeah.
to, they can allow them to get a badge too,
Sure.
you know, if they feel like they put a lot of effort into it as well. Helps them.
Grammy, you helped me here.
Yeah.
Here, you can have my badge? I don't think so.
Yeah, right? And I know Alec has a lot of planning he's been doing for the Centennial
Really?
as
Tell
well.
me some
Yeah,
of your
definitely.
plans.
So, like I said before, what we're wanting to do is reconnect with the
Right,
people of Lowell. So what we've actually been doing is we've been going to neighborhood meetings, and we've been going and to partners and having a dialogue about what they would like to see as far as where we should go. And so
Okay.
it's kind of a grassroots effort to kind of get into the neighborhood and actually talk to the people and have face-to-face conversations about what they would like to see. And what that's kind of looks like is we're going to have a lot of community-based service projects that
Okay.
we're going to be launching throughout the year.
Service projects.
Yes.
Go into that a little bit?
Service project, community service.
Yeah, okay.
And not necessarily benefiting the historical park, whereas we do have volunteer opportunities. But this is more community enrichment. So these are projects that will really benefit the community as a whole.
Okay. Okay. You used the word partnership before. It really is a partnership because it's not something top down or bottom up. It's a partnership, which is a good way to go about it, which is
And
very good.
one of our big things as far as our partnerships go is, so we have, park rangers, we have, these ambassadors that come through, we have people from an organization called the Student Conservation Association, which allows people basically to do an internship all over, it's really United States wide. Sometimes people go and might sign up for the SCA, as it's known, in Alaska, and they'll do like trail building or something nature focused.
Okay,
But we do
okay.
have ones that come through in the summer at our park and spend a lot of time there. But we also have volunteers that we rely on a lot to help us out, especially in the kind of summertime when we're really, really busy.
Right,
And so we do
right,
have
right.
volunteer opportunities too, and we
Right.
do find that a lot of people that have retired are looking just to maybe give 4 hours a week and come and spend some time in the museum and talk to visitors about kind of. and
Really?
So we do have volunteer opportunities as well. So
Okay.
people watching this might want to come and volunteer with
Some
us.
some people watching this might want to volunteer.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What's the minimum number of hours?
I mean, we're flexible with it. Sometimes we like to kind of have enough to fill like a shift. So like 4
Okay.
hours, whether
Okay.
it's staffing the desk with a park ranger and kind of greeting visitors, whether it's working in the boot mills and talking to visitors, or
Right.
we have our other exhibit, the Mill Girls and Immigrants exhibit, which,
Talk a little bit about, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, no, you're good.
Talk a little bit about the Mill Girls one, because that might be very interesting to some of the senior citizens. And I can see maybe some people wanting to volunteer if it's only 4 hours.
Yeah, you can certainly give more than that too. We have some volunteers that basically might work from 9 o'clock when the visitor center opens till 3 o'clock, or we might have people that give a full day.
Sure.
So really flexible in that
Right,
regard.
right.
But we have an exhibit called the Mill Girls and Immigrants exhibit that basically talks about the kind of culture and private life of the workers that came here. Originally Lowell starts off with a very heavy population of local farm girls that get called mill girls, whether they're from Massachusetts or New Hampshire, just kind of the local area. And certainly huge waves of immigrants come in, starting with the Irish and moving all the way up, to Southeast Asian, a number of years
Right.
ago. And so the exhibit itself basically takes a look at what it's like to be that, not only that worker, but that person living in a city that is brand new to them. And I think that's a very personal experience for them, but also I
Yes.
think we as staff and visitors can connect with that experience. As you're going to visit a national park you've never been before, that's your first experience.
Right.
And then I don't know too many parks you get to go to where you can walk into a place where they lived and see how they connected with their new experience too.
Right. That's exciting, actually.
Yeah, it's very
That's
exciting.
You have a lot of opportunities for visitors to the park in Lowell. One of them is a boat tour. I remember going on the boat tour a couple of years ago with some friends. You go down the canal, right?
Yes.
You don't go over the falls.
We do not go over the falls. We discourage that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the other opportunities? You have a trolley you mentioned earlier.
So we do have the trolley.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of opportunities for visitors to come and kind of take in the different things that appeal to them. And a lot of it's seasonal based. So at the kind of winter months here, specifically kind of approaching kind of the Thanksgiving holiday, our trolleys will start to slow down kind of operation and go away for the winter because it's weather dependent. So
Right.
if we get really heavy snowstorms early on, it maybe cuts the season a little short for those. But the trolley is a free service we provide basically to get between our museum sites, whether it's the boot mills and the visitor center, basically you can just hop on and take the ride over there. It's a short, 5 to 8 minute ride. This time of year, on weekends, we do offer a tour in the afternoon on the trolley that goes out to one of our other museum sites that is only open on tour that talks a little bit about the history of the water power in Lowell.
Oh, my
It's a city that's
goodness.
powered by water. So that's a big tour that people like to do just to kind of get an overarching theme of Lowell, but also we
Right.
get a lot of engineers that come and are interested in
Right.
the whole aspect of how turbines work and how water power works. And so the exhibits and sites we have are pretty all-encompassing, and they draw in a lot of people, whether you're someone who's just looking to do something with the family, or you're an engineer, or you're someone who's studying hospitality and travel and tourism at a college and come and visit to kind of see how National Park operates. So that's
Okay.
one of the things we do offer. And then the canal tours are wrapped up for the season, but
Right.
typically those run from Memorial Day through Columbus Day.
Right.
And you can go out on the canal, go through an operating set of locks, and kind of experience that too.
Okay, I don't know how this is going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone wanted to focus just on the historical park in Lowell and see all of the sites and do everything involved with this, how many days are we talking about? Do you have some sense of that?
I think we could both. I'll see we'll both give an answer and see how different they are. That's fine. Yeah. No, this is good. It's because it depends on the person too. So
Right.
let Alex speak a little bit.
I would definitely say that a trip to Lowell National Historical Park would be a day trip.
You
But
can do all of these things in a day?
you could, and really I would recommend it against exclusively visiting Lowell National Historical
Okay.
Park because there's so much else, there's so much more to
That's
do
true.
in
That's
Lowell.
true. That's true.
But yeah, you can definitely do it in a day.
Okay.
And visiting the Department of Conservation and Recreation, Massachusetts State Parks.
Okay.
They have some very cool little sites around the city, and the city of Lowell is a very historical, beautiful city.
Okay. What do you
I
think?
was going to say this exact same thing. Is you can do all of it in a day. You have to really plan out.
You have to plan it
Because
out,
the
though.
boat tours would only run, a certain time
Right.
of day. And so
Right.
you can really plan it out. We do have people that don't want to maybe overwhelm themselves, and so they come and they do a boat tour and a trolley tour on one day, and then they'll come back the next day
Okay.
and do the museum sites. But it's something that's really, you really want to spend your whole day. And we do get a lot of visitors that come in, and they'll come in at 2 o'clock, when we close our sites at 5. And
Oh, boy.
what can I fit in this short time?
Right,
And then
right.
we as staff explain it to them, and they say,
Okay.
I didn't know there was this much to do here.
Right.
And so I think
That's
it
right.
surprises a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with
Yeah.
Alec on that one.
We're going to be winding down in just a couple of minutes, so I want to make sure we've covered everything you think is crucial for our audience. Okay? Keyword, everything in 2 minutes. What do you think, truly? What do you want to make sure our audience understands about the Centennial Park? And how did you even get involved in this in the first place? You mentioned earlier a little bit about how you came into it. How did you get into it?
I actually started in 2006 when I was in college here, my sophomore year, and I ended up working through the Student Conservation Association. I did an
Okay.
internship in 2006.
Okay.
And I came back the following year as a park ranger in the summer, and I did that for a number of years. And then life took me in different directions.
Right.
I went and worked in the Boston Harbor Islands for a while as a park ranger, and kind of went into some independent museums, and then wanted to focus on school. But I always end up coming back to Lowell. I think it's a place that speaks to
Okay.
me and also speaks to visitors too.
Yeah, it resonates with you.
does,
It does, it
yeah.
resonates with you. Okay, so you've talked about several of the opportunities and the cards. This is very soft.
It is very
It's
soft.
very
It's very nice.
soft. It really is. And the child pass and the tour books. And let me see. What did we leave out? Did we leave anything out here?
There's one thing I can think of as far as a centennial kind of push. We have a lot of things coming forth, and one of the big ones is that, so the National Park Service as a whole has the arrowhead, the patch and the logo, and a flag, but we as a national park in Lowell are going to, in the planning stages of having a contest of sorts, to have people design a flag for us for the centennial,
Oh,
for
wow.
Lowell specifically. And
Oh,
so there'll be more things coming
wow.
forth on that, but that's kind of our
Yes.
initial plan
Okay,
there.
Okay. So you have a lot going on, a lot for us to be looking forward to in the coming year, and you're playing a big part in this. Welcome to Massachusetts.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And I want to thank you both for coming today, and I want to thank you for watching. I've learned a lot. You saw me taking a few notes, and I have a conversation coming up with my grandchild. Take care, and thank you for watching.
For the Young at Heart is sponsored by Duville Life and Wellness Community, a commitment to care, a legacy of compassion. This is Duville.